take away the dole, maybe take away social benefits from people who don't work and don't look after your children. How about we do that?
Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Get my head down low.
Okay, next story we've got to talk about. Wow, this is disappointing on a lot of different levels, I think. But if you cannot trust your government, and I probably I think a lot of people have probably stopped trusting different levels of governments a few years ago now. But we're seeing this more and more. Government not doing things properly, trying to take shortcuts. Police organizations across the land taking shortcuts in the way we do things. We saw that in with the fallout of Lawyer X, whatever the name was in Victoria. Just taking shortcuts. It doesn't matter. That's illegal what we're doing, but just apparently the outcome was all that mattered. It doesn't matter how we're doing things. This is the problem when you want to take shortcuts to get the job done. Queensland Police silent on fallout from court order to transfer 3 children from watch houses. Like I said, now this isn't just a Queensland Police. This is the Queensland government as well, the whole government, the Labor government. Anyway, so Queensland Police QPS has refused to say whether it is acting lawfully by continuing to detain dozens of children in state watch houses after the court ordered transfer of 3 young people last week. The Supreme Court ruled on Friday that 3 children must be moved urgently from watch houses to youth detention facilities after the Queensland government conceded they were being held unlawfully. Like I said, you shouldn't be taking shortcuts. I know it can make things more difficult. It can make the process longer, but the government and the police organizations should not be taking the shortcut just because it's more difficult to do something. They are supposed to be the organizations that we trust to do things the right way, even if it is more difficult, even if it's more time consuming. Advocates claim the decision would probably mean hundreds of children, including some still in state watch houses, have been improperly detained in police custody alongside adults for extended periods. Children have been held for up to 40 days in watch houses. Wow. No, I was saying wow, for I already knew that. Designed to hold people for less than 48 hours because youth detention centers are full. The situation has prompted serious human rights concerns. Guardian Australia asked the QPS after the court decision whether it had taken any action to review whether children who remain in police watch houses were potentially affected or being held without a lawful basis. Police were also asked whether the service was confident it was fully compliant with the law in relation to the ongoing detention of those children. In a brief response sent on Saturday, the QPS did not address either question. Oh, crikey. The Cairns-based youth organisation, Youth Powered Towards Independence, lodged a court action on Wednesday last week seeking the transfer of several children being held on remand in state watch houses. The action began as a potential test case regarding the Queensland government's practice of keeping children in police holding cells alongside adults for extended periods. But the case was won without a substantive hearing on Friday when the Queensland government conceded to orders transferring 3 children, those who remained in police custody, to detention centres. Upon the Queensland Youth Justice Act, a court that refuses bail to a young person must make a specific order that effectively remands the child into the custody of police to be transferred to youth justice as soon as practicable. This is the big issue here. So QPS really have their back against the wall. They're in between a rock and a hard place here, because obviously the public wants something done about the explosion of youth crime, and it's ridiculous the way youth have just the amount of youth crime happening in the last 12 months or so. just disgusting. But in reality, this falls on the heads of on the shoulders of parents, because we no longer know how to be a parent anymore. We're told we're not allowed to discipline our children. People are too lazy to be parents. They'd rather be their friends. They don't want to cook meals properly. They don't want to discipline. They don't want to be strict. They don't want to set boundaries. Just lazy parenting. That's a whole nother thing, I suppose. But yeah, so QPS are in between a rock and a hard place. Obviously, they've been held. Bail's been refused. They're supposed to be transferred to detention centers, youth detention centers. The trouble is, there's so many youth who are supposed to be going to these detention centers, and they're full. So what are you supposed to do? You don't want to let them out in the streets anymore. You need to hold them somewhere, but the youth detention centers are full because parents don't be parents anymore. So in reality, Queensland government has failed miserably. The government justifies extended watchhouse detention on basis it is not practicable to transfer children when there is no available place in a detention centre. You kind of got to agree in some ways. The Queensland Solicitor General Jim Del Villa, KC, told the Supreme Court he had not been able to locate any order specifically authorising any of the children to be temporarily remanded in police custody. Lawyers who work regularly in the Queensland Children's Court have told Guardian Australia the vast majority of children remanded and not subject to a specific order that places them into the temporary custody of police. They estimate that hundreds of children would likely have been held in watch houses in those circumstances. This Bridget Burton, she says this is a serious breach of the human rights of children and frankly quite shocking. Look, I don't agree with children being held in these centres or in watch houses. Watch houses are pretty disgusting places they can be. Last place you'd want to be is in Brisbane watch houses. For some of the stuff you'd see in there, you got no idea. But this is the issue. We've got our government and QPS. Like I said, I think QPS and they're in a hard place here. They really are. Not to let them off the hook too much, but the organisation itself is in a hard place. However, the government and QPS, they're kind of just taking the easy way out. QPS could be putting this back. They should have put this back on the government a long time ago and said, hey, youth detention centres are full. What are you going to do? You need to make some decisions. You need to either build some more centres. We need to do something else so that you can all build watch houses that are specifically for youth. There's something else that needs to be done. You can't just take the easy way out and say, well, the youth detentions are full. There's nothing else we can do. We just hold them in a watch house when you've got adults in there. You need to take other precautions. Now, I believe, in my experience from what I'd seen, if you did have youth in a watch house, they were held separately. It's not, I would hope, you never know. I would hope that they were never held in the same cell as any adults. Even so, don't take the shortcuts. Even though things are hard, they needed to hold the Queensland government, they needed to hold Palaszczuk responsible. Hold the heat, the flame to her feet and make her make a decision, make the government make a decision. They always want the good headlines, stand around and say, oh, look at us, look at all the great things we've done. When it comes to making the hard decisions, instead of building that stupid tunnel for the trains that's costing how many billions of dollars, how about they put some money into our Queensland youth? I think this is a failure of the Queensland government. They have been taking the shortcut, and Queensland Police Service, not the individual, not the officers, they're just trying to make the best of it. Queensland Police Service are just going along with it, and instead of holding the Queensland government responsible, everyone's just taking the easy way out. Everyone's taking the easy way out. And you know what? How can you expect the citizens of Queensland have a good standard if the government can't be trusted to actually take the high road? If the government is just looking for the easy way out all the time? Let me know what you think What's the answer to all this? I think it all comes back to biblical standards. To be honest, this comes back to when you've got a government that wants to deny God, a government that tells parents they have no rights, that their children are the ones that know everything, government that wants to take away the rights of parents, and then parents that want to give away their parental responsibilities, fathers that just want to sire children, but don't want to actually stand up and take responsibility for those children, don't want to work. Take away the dole, maybe. Take away social benefits from people who don't work and don't look after your children. How about we do that? Might be a bit better. Yeah, parents actually standing up and being parents. Anyway, let me know what you think.
They just fuel the desire that will take me higher.